And good evening from San Antonio, Texas. I'm here with my partner in crime, Don Gleason. He and I are the co-founders of the Military Transition Roundtable. And tonight we are really fortunate to have our good friend, Scott Gleason. And
Oh,
Scott's going
nope.
to talk about
Scott Carley.
Scott Carley. Scott Carley. Scott Carley. Our good friend Scott Carley to talk about virtual networking in these COVID-19 times. And so we're facing a world now where most of our business networking is being done virtually. But I'd like to talk about the changes that have been made. And then I'm going to turn this over to my good friend, Scott. So how to you, Scott, how has networking changed in the last 6 months?
Networking has made a huge pivot in the last 6 months. And with us not being able to meet face to face, people have had to reach a decision. And quite frankly, not everybody has made a good choice on that. Mm-hmm. There are some people who are very apprehensive about what we're doing right now. Getting behind a camera on a virtual networking event, and they really don't know how to operate there. And so there's a huge group of people that aren't connecting. They've gone into isolation. They're ghosting clients and customers. It's a sand trap, and they haven't learned to pitch out of it. Others have discovered a lot of networking out there and or created some networking. So it's changed a lot in the last 6 months.
What do you think is going to happen when we go back to the availability of traditional conferences? Do you think some people still want a hybrid approach to things?
You know, it's really going to be interesting to see what does happen. Quite frankly, I do miss the face-to-face conferences. There's some things that you just can't do virtually. I've sent a message out to all my NSA members today and said, I miss seeing you face-to-face, shaking your hand, and seeing how you're doing, catching up. Mm-hmm. And so there's some of that you just can't do virtually. But there's some things you can do virtually much easier than you can do them face-to-face. So the speaking and meeting industry has changed, and it will never be the same. It will be similar, but it will be different. It will most likely always have a virtual segment. It's a lot less expensive than it is to travel. And meeting planners are figuring that out. Companies are figuring that out.
Yeah. You use the acronym NSA, just like an old military guy, man. It just spewed right out there. So would you define that for the audience?
Yeah, that just went in one ear and slid right out the other ear. I understand that. NSA stands for National Speakers Association, and we are the professional association for paid speakers. So the people that you hear at a conference, many times they are a member of the Association of National Speakers Association. And there is a national format, and then there are individual chapters all over the country. Every city doesn't have one. Regions all have one. There's one in Austin, NSA Austin. There's one in North Texas NSA. There's one in Houston, Houston NSA. So it's the association where we come together as professionally paid speakers to learn about the business and the craft of professional speaking.
There you go. One more question before I give it back to Matt is, you talked about people don't like Zoom, like this platform. It could be Cisco, could be all kinds of different video conferencing tools. Why do you think they have that apprehension to get on this platform? Because, like you said, we as speakers, we as trainers like to connect with people. So at least you're getting an opportunity to see them and talk to them. What is it about the camera that stops them?
You'd have to ask some of them, but what I hear is, number one, they're technically challenged. So when Matt and I got on today and we were checking the speaker and the camera, and it sounded okay, but I decided to switch to my earphones. So when I hooked them up, Matt said, "Ooh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you." And that little thing right there would have just, people would have cut it off and left.
Yep.
And so because I'm certified as a virtual presenter and I've been through some training on that, I knew what to do. And it just took a second, literally, for us to get it fixed. But there are people out there that are challenged, and their background. You know, I paid a whole $50 to get this virtual background. Looks very professional. You guys are using the background in your room. You feel real comfortable with that. Looks really good. But some people are very apprehensive. Ooh, what do I look like? What does my room look like? Man, I look fat. I look skinny. I look bald. I look hairy. And it's just amazing. Those little things will shove people off.
It does.
That's why I wore this long sleeve shirt for you, Scott, because, you know, normally I'd wear a t-shirt or maybe a polo, but I mean, it's appearances, and you know, people are, you know, they're afraid of the fact that, you know, they've got to be professional looking at it in all settings. I want to talk about people that you go to your presentations and they're like, kind of like these characters from that classic movie, 16 Candles, you know, they're sitting there on the sidelines of a dance and they're not talking to people and not engaging with people. I think that that's pretty easy for people, and even in Zoom conferences. What would you suggest, you know, so they don't do this, you know, that they're like 15, 20 years later, they're looking like this? What do you suggest?
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the things that virtual meetings do are amplify what's already a problem. And if it's already a problem for someone to network, they're introverts, and they'd rather be in a dentist chair than at a networking event. When they get on one of these, it's 10 times worse. And so they just sit there, they remain silent. Or here's a real common thing. They do this, and they turn off their video, put up their picture. Usually they don't even have a picture. What they have is their name. Their name will come up. S. Carley or Scott or something else. And they just don't do anything. And one of the things that we do as presenters is to engage them. We do breakout sessions, and we do small breakout sessions that have only 3 or 4 people. And so, you know, I'll put you in a breakout session and I'll say, what did you do this weekend? What was the highlight of your weekend? You've got about 7 minutes for the 3 or 4 of you. So they'll go into those breakout sessions, and somebody will just say, so what'd you do this weekend? Well, I moved my in-laws. Oh, wow. How'd that go? Well, it was not the funnest thing that I did, but, you know, they really need help. They're in their 80s, and, you know, that's why I'm here. And I know somebody's going to help me when I'm in my 80s. And so that really helps them to have a conversation, get to know each other, and then bam, you come back out here into the big meeting. Wow, I actually know somebody now.
There you go.
So one of the things I'm getting from this, and it's really interesting, is the fact that if you're a military member in transition and you go to one of these network events, that you want to make sure that people can see your face and see your interaction, so they can see you're human, not just something like, you know, like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's it.
You know, there was something that a friend of my brother-in-law's brought to my attention. You know, so often what we do is when we're sitting here doing these, we look at the screen. A little bit ago, you were off on my lower right, so I'm looking down at you. All of a sudden, I looked up at the camera and I could see I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking down. And it looks odd to people. So it's a struggle to try to look at the dot, right, instead of the faces. So when you get certified, do you guys go through that?
Yeah, actually, I went through 2 certifications. One is what's called e-speakers. It was the technical side of the certification. And like right now, what if my internet went down? What would I do? And so they did that. They pulled the plug on my internet. And within 60 seconds, I have to come back up live. And so all I did was I hit a hotspot on my phone, plugged in with that, and in like 20 seconds, maybe 25, I was back live, ready to go. So I went through those certifications, but then I also went through the Barnes Team Media certification, where I was required to go through training and do 11 videos and turn them back in, short videos, 1 to 2 minute videos that included things like, what does my background look like? Am I looking at the camera? Am I articulating in a way that you can understand me? Am I fumbling around? If I have to get up and run to the bathroom, I do this so that, people don't, see me
Standing up. Yeah.
turn around and then, go back down somewhere.
At least you didn't have shorts on. That was good.
Yeah, that's right. So I went, had to shoot some outside, had to shoot some inside. So it was just, they teach you so much about what to do in that 11 video session. So I'm ready. I feel confident, comfortable. I'm not uptight.
So at this point, I'm going to turn the slides presentation over to you, Scott.
Okay. Well, I would like to share some slides with you. I do love networking and helping people learn how to network. My brand is the Change Energizer. So today we're talking about energizing your virtual networking. And it is a big deal. It's a big change. It's a switch for all of us. Some who are a little younger, they're so accustomed to this. They've been doing FaceTime, and that's just the way they talk with each other. Some people in some corporate areas, they've been doing Zoom calls for the last 5 or 6 years. No big deal. But there's a huge percentage of us that had to make an acceleration into the virtual world. And I was one of those. So it's important to recognize virtual is the new norm. It's not going away. It's not going away for a lot of reasons, and I'll talk a little bit about that today. There are some certifications. I've already mentioned a couple of them. eSpeakers, Barnes Media Team, that can help you become more proficient, feel more comfortable. My average week is made up of 5 or 6, 7 Zoom meetings. So this is a book mastermind that I go through every Thursday morning at 8:30. And, here's another Zoom meeting with some NSA, National Speakers Association people. Here is a men's Bible study, small group that I go through. There was, I think, the Rotary Club. Here's another presentation. I mean, this is our world now. And instead of going to coffee shops or networking events or chamber meetings or other things, I just come upstairs, plug into my Zoom meeting, and here I am with Cedar Park Chamber of Commerce, Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, Austin Rotary Club, ACE executives. And so it's just the way we do things now. When all this happened, I was very accustomed to going to coffee shops, Topgolf, other places, and meeting with clients, lining up all these meetings. And when our mayor shut us down and said, you can't get in groups of larger than 5, then none, I freaked out. And I thought, how am I going to survive at home? I mean, I'm an extrovert. I need people. And I really like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that guy, he just won the Super Bowl, 24 years old. And he just kind of has a motto. I just want to connect. I need a touchdown. I need to complete a pass. I need to win a Super Bowl. And he found a way. And that's really what we did. We found a way to connect with people. So here's something that I do right now. So let's connect. I mean, this is how it works. This is networking. So let's connect. I put this screen up here so you've got my phone number, 512-470-0570. Now get in your phone, and go to your contact list and find you. And after you find you, there I am, that's me. So you should have yours set up. Oh, you haven't set up you in your contact list? This is today's business card. And you need to set up you in your contact list. Get something beside your high school picture and put your contact information. Don't worry about all the notes that you put in about how much you weigh and other things that are going on in your world and your life. Don't worry about that because those don't transfer. But now that you found your contact list, scroll down. And when you scroll down, you'll find right here, share contact. And hit share contact and go to message. And when you get to message, put in my phone number, 512-470-0570. Oh my God, my phone starts blowing up with all of your contacts coming in. So what are we doing? We're connecting. Now that you have connected with me, I can connect back because you gave me your contact information. I'll send you more of my contact information. It's that simple. But this is how it works in virtual connecting. You just connect with people. There's a change Energizer. So now LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a big deal. It's kind of where I live. Maybe it's where a lot of you live. Matt Shear came in and did some remodeling on my house where I live on LinkedIn, and makes me look a lot better. But here's my LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn.com/n/S Carley. Connect right now. I mean, pull out your phone, go to LinkedIn, connect with me. And later when we get off of this, I'll connect with you. Now, I want to tell you what you've done right here. This is where it starts, because it's hard to have a conversation, hard to have a business relationship or personal relationship if you don't have some contact information exchange with one another. So that means you need to go to your LinkedIn, get it set up. You need to go to your contact, get it set up so that it represents you well.
Got a question for you, Scott.
Yeah.
I like what you're saying about the contact stuff. How do you use the CRM to stay in touch with people you meet? What's your process for that?
I'm gonna dive into that right now.
Okay.
So on LinkedIn, name. I've got my banner, color, picture, all of that. Certificate of being a networker. I have an outcome statement that I've got here. So all of this is hooked up. Contact info is on there. So, Matt, let me answer it as I'm going through this.
Sure.
And I want to start off with 5 advantages of a virtual event. We don't get to do this face-to-face anymore. We have to do it virtually. So what are some advantages of that? The first one is you and they are on your own turf, and that means the comfort level is very high.
Great.
Hey, I'm in my office. I feel really good. I'm not worried. I'm not looking for the door. There's no creep going to come up and talk to me. It's all good. You know what? You are sitting in your office, in your living room, in your home office, wherever that is. Comfort levels are very high. That's good. Guess what's on the screen? My name, your name. So now who is that? Who is that bald-headed guy with the goatee, the glasses on? What is his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. What is his? Oh, that's Matt Shear. Yeah, that's really good. Raise your hand if you've ever forgotten somebody's name, like maybe your wife.
Oh,
okay,
no.
So that would be bad. There's 0 drive time. I mean, I go back to back to back meetings, and when I say back to back, it really is. I get off this one, I can jump on another one. 0 drive time. For me to drive to Austin's 30 minutes, one way, 30 minutes. I can privately, directly chat during the meeting. So every Friday morning, I get on with a thing called ACE, Austin Christian Executives. There's 40 guys, 40 executives that get on that call. We go through a Bible study. When I get on it, I spend the first 10 minutes. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Hey, Wade, how you doing? Hey, Albert, how you doing? Hey, Danny, what's going on? And I'm chatting with them, and they're chatting back with me, and we're not interrupting anybody. You can't do that in a live meeting. I mean, you ever been in a live meeting? You're having a really good conversation, and, you know, you and Don are just about to, you know, dive into some deep conversation, and maybe there's a sale coming in there, or a referral, and then somebody, Matt, walks up. Hey, guys, what's going on, man? What'd you do this weekend? And the conversation just goes to pieces. You never have that in these, because in that chat, you're visiting.
Nice.
I like
So
that.
the next one is screen share information. I'm screen sharing right now. I can share a document. I can share a PowerPoint. I can share a video. You know, if we're working through a project, I was on a Zoom meeting the other day with a couple of clients, and we're negotiating something. Man, I just threw it up there. They got a chance to look at it. I didn't have to send them anything. They didn't have to send me anything. Bam. It's all right there. So that's just 5. That's just 5 things. Now, here's the big question. Where is everybody? You know, I knew where the coffee shops were, and I knew where the restaurants were, and I knew where the chambers were, but where is everybody? I mean, I can't find anybody anywhere. Well, I couldn't find anybody either. So I set up a book mastermind on Who Moved My Cheese, and people came to it. And in the book, Who Moved My Cheese, Sniff and Scurry looked around and the cheese had moved, and they went out to find new cheese. And the other 2 characters, just him and Haw, just complained and complained because the cheese had moved. And cheese has moved, so we have to move with it. So here's 6 networking venues. Do I have time to share those, Matt?
Of course.
So I'll go through them real quick. Now, before I really dive into that, there's a really big question you need to answer. Who is your target market? That's a big deal. Who has a very specific motivation or pain that needs what you offer? You need to figure that out. Who is that? What's their age? They're young, they're old, do they have a profession? What's their culture, their special interest? All of those things are keys and clues to where you're going to go hang out.
Can I ask a question?
And as you answer, yeah.
I'll save it till you finish the slide, but I do have a question.
Say that again.
I had something I was going to ask you in just a second, but I'll let you finish the slide, but I have a question specific.
Okay. So that's really the end of that slide. You just need to figure out who your target market is and where they huddle and gather. Because I'm thinking of a restaurant right now, and the only people that go to that are old people. And if that's your target, then that's where you want to go. I can think of a place right now, and only women go there. Maybe that's where you need to hang out, you know, women networking. Women hang out there. ACE, that's just Christian men hang out there. Rotary Club, professionals under 40. Guess who hangs out there? Professionals under 40. So who are you looking for? And once you figure that out, then it's easier to network. You had a question, Matt?
I did. I'm looking at our military partners, the ones that Don and I work with, and how can they find target markets when they're looking to go specifically into a new industry or a new profession? So let's say I was a drill sergeant and I wanted to be a realtor. What would you do to search for those kind of online chat groups?
So I'd go into Google and I would either go to Meetup, or I would type in real estate association, real estate groups, and luxury real estate. low income real estate. I've got a guy who only tries to sell $150,000 homes. That's all. And he's got a target market of people, and he is selling houses left and right because he's found a group of people and areas where $150,000 houses are what they want, and he sells them left and right. I've got another friend that sells luxury homes, others that sell them on the golf courses. So it just depends on who you think you want to sell to. Some like multifamily dwellings. They love duplexes or quadruplexes, and so they want to get into that.
Biggest challenge I hear people when they talk about that is target market is, I want to sell everything to everybody.
Yeah.
What's your response?
I love that. And that's usually what that means is they haven't figured it out yet. And so there's a couple of quick answers to that. One is in hunting ducks, you get a duck call. Okay. And if I get that duck call, and let's say it's for mallard ducks, and I get good at that duck call, then when I give that duck call, mallard ducks will show up. But no geese, no Canadian geese are going to show up. No owls are going to show up. No dove are going to show up. But when I learn to give that duck call, then they are attracted.
Great analogy.
to it. But if I say, ducky, 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 nothing's going to come because they don't recognize the vernacular. So that's the real easy, simple answer. And here's what I tell people. Who are you most comfortable talking to? So for some reason, the trades industry, construction, and financial advisors, insurance agents, they like me. They like my vernacular. They like the way I talk. And so I go after financial advisors, insurance agents, and the trades industry. Real estate do too. I don't follow after them as much, but the others, I put that duck call out. I know what to say. And when I say it, boy, it turns their ear and they come running.
Wonderful.
I love that. Thank you.
So there's a lot of business associations. You can type in business associations. The one you're looking at right now is ACE. There's one called Contractors and Civil Engineers. I've spoken there several times, and they have a monthly luncheon. You look it up, ACEA, Contractors and Civil Engineers. Chamber of Commerce. In Austin, there are 7 or 8 Chamber of Commerce. There's the Austin Chamber of Commerce. There's a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. There's an Asian Chamber of Commerce. There is the Filipino Chamber of Commerce. I mean, just on and on down the line.
Yeah, would you believe we have 23 chambers here in San Antonio?
Oh, wow. See, I mean, there's no end to it.
That's right.
Now, where are we on time?
We're good. We got 5 more minutes. This is fascinating. And again, we're putting this out for use in a follow-on video on YouTube. So.
Okay, well, I'll go down through these 6 and then we'll wrap it up there. So the idea is there's a lot of associations. TEA, Texas Energy Cooperatives, National Property Management Association, National Association Remodeling Industry. I mean, you just go in and type association and you're going to find a monthly group that meets. So it's a piece of cake. There are networking groups. You could type in, you Google networking groups in San Antonio, Austin, wherever. SABA, South Austin Business Associations, Metropolitan Breakfast Club, Austin Christian Executives, BONG. Now, BONG. It brings back something from the 70s, BONG. Business Owners Networking Group. BNI, that's what's up there. BNI is a worldwide, and they're all virtual now.
Yeah.
All BNIs are virtual now. eWomen Network. If you're a woman, you're a businesswoman, eWomen Network. Community service groups. Rotary, Veterans, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard. I think that all of those are represented in individual networking groups. If not, you type in Army veteran, Navy veteran, Air Force veteran, Coast Guard veteran. You'd be surprised at what's going to pop up. in where I lived, we had VFW. VFW was a big deal. Masterminds. Masterminds are very popular. That term is kind of worn out, but I'm in at least 3 masterminds every week, going over 2 or 3 different books. The Slight Edge was a great book, one of my favorite. Think and Grow Rich. I've been through it. Now I'm taking some people through it. Topics, post-pandemic landscape. You know, what's it going to look like on the other side of the pandemic? Financial services, exits and transitions. A mastermind is something you proactively can create. Figure out a topic, figure out a series of lessons, or get a book. That's the easiest one. And then invite peers or people that you've connected with. As you're on some of these others, you could message somebody, and it's a lot easier for people to say yes to, hey, listen, I'm taking a bunch of guys or some gals through The Slight Edge. Really great book. If you'd like to join us, we're just getting started. We're on chapter 1. That sounds a lot better than, hey, listen, could I hit you up for a job? You know, I need a good job with benefits, and I'm very qualified. This sounds a lot better. And people come to those, and the guy who built my website, I found in a mastermind. My financial advisor, I found in a mastermind. The people that did my mortgage, I found in a mastermind. Because that's where trust is built. People get to know you, get to have conversations. It's a great way to network. So that's probably where a good place to stop. You know, we can talk a little bit about scrubbing a room. And scrubbing a room really just means that, like right now, look at all the names of the people that I can see. This is at a Rotary meeting. Look at all the names. I can chat with every one of them and find out who they are, say hi. I have a scheduler, and I can either tell them about a website to just go to it, or I can send it to them. But I have one that's called takeepicaction.com. And if you go to takeepicaction.com, it takes you to my scheduler, and it opens up my schedule for a 30-minute visit. And by the way, 30 minutes is plenty long enough. Nobody wants to talk an hour. 20 to 30 minutes is about it.
Yeah.
You talk for a little bit. So you may have multiple 20 or 30-minute conversations, but nobody's talking an hour on Zoom.
No.
Excellent
So this
ideas.
is it. I mean, you know, there's a lot to networking, developing your elevator pitch. Matt, you asked about, you know, what do I do when I connect with somebody?
Yeah.
When I connect with somebody on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
I keep it very simple, and I just say, hey, Matt, thanks for the connection. And then I have a question. How are you doing? How are you pivoting in this crazy pandemic world? The Change Energizer, and then I have a tagline. Taking action always releases a miracle. And I'm thankful that probably 40 to 45% of the people that connect answer that question. And it starts a conversation. And then after we start the conversation, we just see where it goes. And nobody likes to be sold to, but we like to have a conversation where we can build trust and then see if they have a referral or if they need products or services. And then also, when I post, and I post a lot of videos, post a lot of things on LinkedIn on purpose. And when that happens, anybody who comments, I comment back. Especially, I comment back. And we try to start a conversation, make sure that we're already connected. People who just like, then I will thank them for liking whatever they saw. So we start that conversation, and get it moving.
You know, there's a great comment one of my mentors talked about is maintain rapport. When I first heard that, I was like, maintain rapport. And he's like, you got to keep the conversation going, right? You got to stay connected. On LinkedIn, you send out that question, somebody responds back. Don't just leave it there.
Yeah.
Comment on it. Ask another question. But just have a conversation. Just like if you were in the room, have a conversation about it. Be curious. You know, we talk about listen to understand, not listen to respond. So
Right.
what is it about that intrigues me? What's the next level of detail behind it? You know, tell me a little bit more about that. And pretty soon you have a good conversation. And then it's kind of easy to say, hey, you know, I would love to have a 15-minute conversation on Zoom. Let's instead of going back and forth, let's talk a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can get into a little bit more about what you do and what they do. And you're just giving background, right? Doesn't even come across as selling. And like you said, all of a sudden it's like, you know, I need a realtor. I need a mortgage broker. I need a,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And that's the whole point. The whole point is to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
One of the disciplines is what you just said. If you start a conversation, that's kind of what I use as a gauge. I throw that question, and the people that respond to it, I try to keep the conversation going. People that don't respond to it, I'm not really worried about it because I'm putting videos and posts, and if something pings them, they'll say something. So when people keep talking to me, I try to keep talking to them, unless they're trying to hard sell me something.
Yeah.
I don't.
Talking about the guys with commission breath.
Yeah.
That looks good.
Let me say that again. Commission breath. Do you see a lot of people with commission
breath? Yeah. If somebody tries to start selling to me, I'll hold this up. You need one of these for your commission breath.
Yeah.
Altoids.
There you go.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you for sharing this. I know that Don and I can probably localize this and synthesize it for our military brethren, especially those who are like, well, I want to go into different organizations. And you gave some excellent tips on how to find those organizations and those places to build a network. And as we at the Military Transition Roundtable know, if you have 2 years to start, that's a good point to begin. All right. So from San Antonio, Texas, I want to say thank you again, my friend Scott Carley, and with my associate and co-founder, Don Gleason. Thank you for joining us this evening.
I appreciate it.